The atmosphere inside the studio of The View was unusually charged that morning. Even the audience, who normally chatted with excitement before the show, sensed something different. The producers backstage paced in tight circles, headsets crackling with hurried instructions. And in the middle of that simmering tension stood country superstar Blake Shelton, casually leaning against a counter, sipping from a silver travel mug. Blake's relaxed posture fooled no one. The man had a storm behind his blue eyes. He was there to promote his new album and tour, but everyone knew Blake was never just easygoing Blake when a conversation went sideways, especially when Joy Behar was involved. 2 minutes to live, a stagehand announced. Joy Behar, flipping through notecards, glanced at Blake. Just remember, she said with a half smirk, we ask the questions people want answers to. Blake smiled, but it wasn't the warm, joking smile fans knew from the voice. It was tight, controlled, a warning hidden behind politeness. No problem, he said. Just make sure you actually want the answers. The stagehand winced. This was going to be a show. The show begins. The lights flared, music rolled, and the host stepped onto the stage. The audience erupted with claps as cameras swept across their faces. Welcome back to The View. Whoopi announced. We have a very special guest today, country superstar, coach on The Voice, and man with the tallest hair in America, Blake Shelton. The crowd cheered as Blake walked on stage. He gave a friendly wave and took his seat, right beside Joy. Joy leaned forward immediately. Blake, glad you're here, she said, tone already sharp. You've been making headlines lately, not all of them good. Whoopi gave her a side eye. Sarah sat up straighter. Even the audience fell quieter. Blake rested his elbows on the table. That's so? He asked calmly. Joy shuffled her notes like a lawyer preparing to pounce. Yes, you recently made comments about politics, and about television hosts who stir the pot for attention. Who did you mean by that, Blake? A soft, ooh, rolled through the audience. Blake chuckled. I meant exactly what I said. But did you mean us? Joy pressed. Blake scratched his chin. Well, Joy, if you think the shoe fits, I can't stop you from wearing it. The audience gasped. Whoopi mouthed, Lord, help us. Joy blinked fast. You think I stir the pot for attention? Joy, Blake replied, you stir the pot, flip it over, set it on fire, and then yell at the fireman who comes to put it out. The audience exploded in laughter. Even Sarah couldn't hold back a smile. Joy did not laugh. The discussion turns. Joy straightened herself. All right, she said with a tense laugh. You want to play tough. Let's talk about your new album. You said this project is your most honest yet. What were the other albums? Lies. Blake's face finally hardened. No, those albums were me. This one is me after realizing I don't have to sit politely when someone is trying to spin my words. That hit the table like a brick. Joy opened her mouth, but Blake continued. Look, he said, gestures growing sharper. I came here to talk about the music. About the tour. About the fans. But if the only thing you want is to twist stuff so you can get a headline, then yeah, I'm gonna call it out. The audience clapped loudly, surprising even the hosts. Joy's eyes widened with annoyance. We ask tough questions on this show, she shot back. If you can't handle them. Oh, I can handle them, Blake interrupted firmly. What I can't handle is someone acting like they know me better than I know myself. Whoopi leaned in. All right, let's keep it cool. But neither Blake nor Joy heard her. The moment everything snapped, Joy folded her arms. Blake, you're being sensitive. Blake leaned forward, jaw tight. I'm being honest, Joy. Maybe you should try it sometime. The audience roared. Joy slapped her notecards onto the table. This is a talk show. She fired back. If you don't like the heat. Blake stood up. The studio froze. Cameras kept rolling. Producers waved frantically from the wings. Joy's jaw dropped in shock. You know what? Blake said, voice low but trembling with frustration. I came here with respect. I expected a conversation, not an ambush. Ambush. Joy repeated. No one ambushed you. Blake shook his head. I'm done. And just like that, Blake Shelton, calm country giant, walked off The View. The audience screamed. The hosts looked at one another in disbelief. Whoopi rubbed her forehead. Well, that just happened. Sarah whispered, is he really leaving? Joy sat stiff, cheeks flushed, but her eyes were sharp with something between anger and embarrassment. Backstage, producers scrambled as Blake marched down the hallway, the echo of his boots louder than the applause still thundering from the audience. And the question rising everywhere, from the studio, from social media, from millions watching live, was the same. Backstage was chaos. Producers rushed around Blake, trying to calm him, their headsets buzzing with frantic instructions. Assistants held clipboards like shields, filming crew members whispered to each other, and the show's director, face red, arms waving, kept shouting into his mic, "Keep cameras rolling. Don't cut to commercial yet." Blake didn't slow down. His long strides echoed against the hallway walls as he headed toward the exit, jaw locked tight. A young production assistant, barely 20, finally jogged ahead of him and blocked his path with shaking hands. "Mr. Shelton, sir, wait. Please. The network wants to resolve this." Blake stopped, not because he wanted to, but because the kid looked like he might faint if he didn't. "Resolve what?" Blake demanded. "Joy asked for fireworks. She got 'em. Now let me go cool off." The kid swallowed hard. "They want you to return to the stage." Blake let out a dry laugh. "Not happening. Meanwhile on stage, the host sat stiffly around the table as the audience buzzed like a swarm of bees. Sarah broke the silence first. We're going to take a quick." "No," Joy snapped, lifting a hand. "We stay live. I'm not letting him paint me as the villain." Whoopi glared at her. "Joy, you are not helping." "I didn't do anything," Joy insisted, voice rising. "He's the one who exploded." "He felt attacked," Sarah said gently. Joy rolled her eyes. "Please. If he can't handle a simple question, maybe he shouldn't be on TV." But even as she spoke, Joy's hands trembled. She wasn't used to guests pushing back, let alone walking out. Cameras captured everything, and social media was already melting down. Hashtags like #TeamBlake, #Joy Behar, and #TheView chaos were trending within minutes. Backstage negotiations begin. A senior producer, a woman in her 50s with silver hair and a no-nonsense tone, finally approached Blake. "Blake," she said, "look, I get it. Tension happens on this show. But you storming off is going to blow up. If you come back for even 2 minutes, we can save this." Blake crossed his arms. "Why save it?" Joy wanted drama. She got it. "Yes," the producer admitted, "but nobody wins if this turns into a network war." Blake sighed loudly and rubbed a hand across his face. Part of him hated drama. And part of him hated leaving anything unfinished, especially when millions were watching. "Fine," he muttered. "But I'm not apologizing for speaking the truth. We're not asking you to," the producer said. "Just finish the interview." Blake nodded stiffly. "Let's go." The return nobody expected. When Blake stepped back onto the stage, the audience gasped. Joy's eyes widened with surprise, and maybe a flicker of guilt. Whoopi raised both eyebrows. "Well, look who came back." Blake took his seat slowly, without looking at Joy. "Let's finish what we started." Joy cleared her throat. "Blake, earlier, things got heated. Maybe we both got carried away." Blake finally turned to her. His stare was calm but firm. "Joy," he said, "I don't mind tough questions. But I don't come on shows for people to twist my words." Joy blinked, waiting. "So here's the truth," Blake continued. "I said what I said about TV hosts who stir the pot. And it applies to anyone who does it, not just you." The audience murmured. Joy inhaled sharply. "Well, thank you for clarifying." Blake leaned back. "But if the shoe fits." "Blake," Whoopi said sharply. He held up his hands. All right, I'm done." The audience laughed, easing the tension. Joy forced a smile. "Maybe I overreacted. Maybe we both did," Blake replied. And though it wasn't a warm reconciliation, it was enough for the producers. A moment of honesty. Sarah leaned in. "Blake, let's get back to your music. You said this album shows a different side of you. Why now?" Blake exhaled, finally relaxing. "Because life's too short to pretend. I've been through a lot, good stuff, hard stuff. And I realized I wanted to write songs that feel like real conversations." Joy couldn't help but ask, even the uncomfortable ones. "Especially those," Blake said with a small smile. The audience applauded softly. For the first time that morning, the show felt like a show again, not a battlefield. The unexpected twist. Just when everyone thought the tension had faded, Joy looked at Blake and asked one last question. "So, after all this," she said, "would you ever come back to The View?" Blake paused. The room held its breath. He looked around, the cameras, the lights, the audience, the hosts, and then at Joy. A slow grin spread across his face. "Oh, I'll come back," he said. "But next time, you better have a fire extinguisher ready." The studio erupted in laughter. Even Joy laughed, shaking her head. "You're impossible. But entertaining," Blake said with a wink. After the show. As soon as the cameras cut, Joy approached Blake quietly. "I wasn't trying to disrespect you," she said. Blake nodded. "And I wasn't trying to blow up. But hey, we gave them a show, didn't we?" Joy smirked. "The internet is going to explode." Blake chuckled. "Good. Maybe they'll buy the album while they're at it." They shook hands, awkwardly, but sincerely. A producer watching from the corner whispered, "This episode will break records." And she was right. Within hours, clips were everywhere. Millions watched the walk-off, the comeback, the confrontation, the banter. It became one of the most talked about episodes in The View's history. For Blake, the headlines didn't bother him anymore. For Joy, it was a reminder that she wasn't bulletproof. And for the audience, it was a moment no one would forget.